Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video I am going to be giving you the big news regarding Paul Pogba, and there's lots of other things to talk about. So reportedly now, according to a lot of narratives in the mainstream media, Paul Pogba has now made a decision on his future, and he's set to pull off a spectacular U-turn and stay at Manchester United, because obviously we do know, not it wasn't long ago actually, that Paul Pogba had actually told his teammates that he does want to leave Manchester United. Now I think the main explanation now why Paul Pogba wants to stay at the football club is because he's looking forward to playing alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield, because Paul Pogba is aware of the impact that Bruno Fernandes has made since his arrival from Sporting Lisbon. Bruno Fernandes, of course, has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Obviously, 3 goals, 3 assists. He's very instrumental. His decision making is very, very good. And definitely Bruno Fernandes is making the difference in the team. And I've got to say, my overarching view on Bruno Fernandes is that I think he's the best signing that Manchester United have made since probably the Alex Ferguson era, and we've recruited over 30 players since the Alex Ferguson era. And now reportedly anyway, revert back to what I said regarding Paul Pogba, he wants to extend his contract at Manchester United, because Pogba's got is it a year left on his current contract. Well, Man United do have an option to extend it by a further year. And reportedly, if he is to sign this new contract, Paul Pogba, he will get around £400,000 a week. So this is what I learned, because in his current contract at the moment, I think he's on around £290,000 a week. Obviously, Paul Pogba's brother has also come out and he's given his overarching view on this. And he actually says he wants his brother to join Real Madrid. But now Paul Pogba reportedly wants to stay at Manchester United. Also, there's other positive news coming out regarding Pogba. He has been back in training this week, because Solskjaer did confirm last week that Paul Pogba would have returned to training this week. So he did actually say he could be available for selection for the last game on Thursday. And like I mentioned, the preview for that game will be coming up later on today. Just want to confirm, guys, that the last game tomorrow is playing, but it will be it's going to be behind closed doors, which means there's going to be no spectators there. And LASK have confirmed this. They've followed that advice from the Austrian government. I think around 900 of our fans have purchased tickets, but of course they are going to get their money back, are our fans. So yeah, the game's going to go ahead, but there's going to be no spectators there. It's due to the coronavirus. This is why the game's going to be played behind closed doors. I do believe also City and Arsenal's being postponed. They're postponing quite a few matches now, this coronavirus. But yeah, so he could be available for selection for the last game, like I mentioned. If he's not, then I definitely can assure he will be back for the Tottenham game on Sunday, will Pogba. But it's good now that he's made a decision on his future. And even Rio Ferdinand said, the club, he urged the club, to make a decision on his future, because Paul Pogba has been subjected to a hell of a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, this year he's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, last summer he was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Don't forget, last summer, Paul Pogba, did reveal that he wanted to leave the football club. Last summer, his actual preference was a move to Real Madrid, because he did say last summer, he dreamed of playing for Real Madrid and playing under Zinedine Zidane's guidance. Obviously, back under the Jose Mourinho era, Pogba was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, because obviously, like I mentioned, he enjoyed a difficult relationship with Jose Mourinho. But now Paul Pogba is into his 4th season as a Manchester United player. This is his 4th season as a Man United player since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. And we paid £89 million for him. And he is our most expensive signing. Now, obviously, I did say if Pogba, would have left this summer, he'd have either gone to Real Madrid, he'd have made a return back to Turin, because he did enjoy 4 good years in Turin, or he would have, gone to PSG. Because if we were to sell him this summer, we quoted out that we wanted minimum £100 million for him. Some reports said we wanted around 150 million for Pogba. I think we wanted around 180 million pounds for him last summer. But obviously, reverting back to last summer, we did, Real Madrid weren't willing to meet basically what we was demanding for the player. So reportedly now, Paul Pogba's confirmed that he does want to stay at the football club. So that is very, very good news. But Solskjaer does know deep down how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. Because obviously, Solskjaer, watched some of this team in this day and age grow and develop. When he was managing the Manchester United reserve team, I think from 2008 to 2010, and one of the players he did watch grow and develop was Paul Pogba. How old is he? He's 26, 27 years of age now, and he has still got a lot of development in him. I think one of the mistakes the football club did make was getting rid of Pogba when he was younger. We shouldn't have got rid of him when he was younger, because don't forget, we did have him under Alex Ferguson. Due to limited appearances, he made a couple of appearances, but due to limited appearances, we let Paul Pogba go on a free transfer and we let him go to Juventus. Obviously, his agent Mini Raiola has been working on getting Paul Pogba transfer away from Manchester United. Obviously, quite a few weeks ago now, his agent Mini Raiola was talking a lot, saying that it's likely that Paul Pogba will leave this summer if Man United fail to qualify for the Champions League. He was also coming out with comments like saying that Paul Pogba is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's property and stuff like that. And a lot of United fans and Man United in general were very annoyed about, some of the comments that his agent Mini Raiola was coming out and saying. So if we can extend his contract, I think, Man United will end up paying him around 400 grand a week, and that would make him the highest paid player at the football club. So that's the latest news now regarding Paul Pogba, so now he could be staying at Manchester United. But like I mentioned on my videos yesterday that I did, I think I expect around 4 to 5 players to leave Manchester United this summer. I know a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, but there's still deadwood at the football club. The players I expect to leave in the summer, I expect Phil Jones to leave Manchester United in the summer because he isn't getting any opportunities now, so his appearances are limited. Jones, of course, has been a long-serving player at Manchester United. He's now into his 9th season at the football club, and he has enjoyed 8 years here. He's been here since the Ferguson era, so I expect him to be moved on. We know Matic now is staying because reports came out earlier on this week saying that he'd agreed a new contract with the football club. I think it was a 2-year deal. Matic is a backup to the likes of Fred and McTominay, but Matic has recently rejuvenated himself. He did really, really well, when McTominay was absent, did Nemanja Matic. He's now into his 3rd season at the club. Manchester United, of course, paid £40 million for Nemanja Matic. That's how much we paid for him. So you can say we overpaid for him. When we got him from Chelsea back in 2017, he signed a 3-year contract with the club before he agreed this new contract. Nemanja Matic, his current contract, was due to expire at the end of the season. But Solskjaer confirmed early on this week that he had signed a new contract. But Matic has made just over 100 appearances for the football club. So we know now he's staying. Obviously, we know Chong's staying because, like I mentioned to you yesterday, he's also signed a new contract with the club until 2022. So he's signed a 2-year contract. Well, there's also an option of a further year. So we know now he's going to be staying as Chong. It looked likely he was going to be either going to Inter Milan or he was going to be going to Juventus. Angel Gomez could still go though, because I think his current contract is due to expire at the end of the season. Angel Gomez isn't getting any opportunities at Manchester United, and this is one of the main explanations why I just think it would be beneficial if we did move Angel Gomez on. So I think he possibly could go. I think he possibly could go. Obviously, there's still a lot of rumours going on regarding David De Gea. Obviously, like he updated you a couple of days ago, he says, he could still leave in the summer. He did say Real Madrid are preparing to put around a £70 million bid in for David De Gea. Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. PSG have been in for him. Also, Juventus have been in for him. Reflecting back in 2015, Real Madrid were very, very close to getting David De Gea. But obviously, due to the fax machine on deadline day, the deal never materialised. So he ended up staying at Manchester United, David De Gea. If David De Gea was to leave the football club, I think he would make a return back to Spain. Because, like I mentioned, he's born in Spain, his relatives are from Spain, and his girlfriend's from Spain. So I think he would make a return back to Spain, would David De Gea. Obviously, he's now into his ninth season at Manchester United. David De Gea has been a long servant at the football club. He's endured 8 years here. Like I mentioned, I admire him because I think he's had a good career. He's had a good 6.5 years out of the 8 years he's been here. I do believe, though, from my own perception, that De Gea has been a liability at least for the last year and a half or so. And, he has received a lot of criticism, for the calamitous mistakes he's been making a lot. But Solskjaer gave his overarching view on him, and he still believes that David De Gea is the best goalkeeper in the world. And overall, he is one of the best goalkeepers in the world, of what he's achieved in that, because obviously he's won everything he did domestically. He's won the club's player of the year 4 times out of the past 6 seasons, reflecting on his good run of performances. And, he's made just over 300 appearances in the Premier League. And he's made nearly 400 appearances now in all competitions, and he's made over 100 clean sheets as David De Gea and that. So yeah, there's been reports saying, he could leave Manchester United in the summer. Don't forget, last September, signed a new contract with the club worth in the region of £375,000 a week. So that does make him the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. And obviously, there's been reports saying, when Dean Henderson does come back from his loan spell with Sheffield United, he could become our number one goalkeeper, could Dean Henderson. And, David De Gea could actually, lose his place in the team. Because Dean Henderson's done really, really well on his loan spell with Sheffield United. He has been a revelation. And, it was a good decision from the football club, putting Dean Henderson out on loan. Because obviously, now it has gained him more experience. So he could become our number one keeper. Obviously, we've got Sergio Romero. He's our second choice goalkeeper. He tends to play in the cup games as Sergio Romero. We've got Lee Grant. He's a long-term absentee, though. Seldom played since his arrival from Stoke in the summer of 2018. So yeah, I do expect players to leave Manchester United in the summer. But obviously, like I mentioned, the players that have left the club since Solskjaer came in, obviously, we saw Young leave this year after he endured 8.5 years at Manchester United. Obviously, we saw Chris Smalling go. He went to Roma on loan. I don't see him coming back to Man United now, Chris Smalling, but he did enjoy 9 years at Manchester United. Obviously, we saw Rojo go out on loan to Estudiantes. We saw Darmian last summer. He went to Parma. Herrera left. You can say, maybe we made a mistake by getting rid of Ander Herrera because he endured 5 years at Man United. And I think he had a good 3.5, 4 years out of the 5 years. It was he again. He was one of the best players we had since the Ferguson era. Was Ander Herrera. Obviously, Fellaini went in January 2019 after he endured 6 years at the football club. We got him from Everton for around 27.5 million. Of course, Lukaku and Sanchez, of course, both left the football club. So a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival and that. But yeah, and we also need to see more incomings in the summer transfer window. Now, obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in, he has brought 5 new players in and spent in total around £220 million. Of course, last summer, Solskjaer brought Daniel James in for around £15 million. I think he's done really, really well, Daniel James. Hasn't been his best in the last month or so. People were saying if he continues with this poor run of form, then, he will be dropped to Daniel James. But, he made his return against City because he'd missed our 2 previous games before the Manchester City game. But, I'm surprised he's played as many games to the extent as he has done anyway. I'm surprised about that. Obviously, paid 50 million for Wan-Bissaka last summer, and he's done really, really well. And the good news is now we are starting to see the attacking side of Wan-Bissaka's game, but his defensive contributions absolutely fantastic. His distribution's immense. And Harry Maguire, we paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. He's the most expensive defender in the world, and he's the second most expensive signing at the football club is Harry Maguire. and he's addressed our defensive deficiencies really, really well. And I think the club did make the right decision by giving Harry Maguire the captaincy on a permanent basis. We're giving the captaincy, like I mentioned, reflecting on Ashley Young's departure. And in January, we got Bruno Fernandes in for 68 million, and we got Odion Ighalo in on loan until the end of the season. But now we're looking to build on this, and I think Odion Ighalo's also done really, really well. I'm going to give Odion Ighalo a lot of credit. He's got 3 goals in 2 starts for the football club as Odion Ighalo. Solskjaer did recently make an admission saying that we could actually make Odion Ighalo's transfer permanent. Yes, we could, but I think from my own perception that Odion Ighalo is a good cover-up to Marcus Rashford. Like Solskjaer said, he's an option of a different type of centre-forward. He's a lifelong Manchester United fan, and he's done really, really well so far. So, yeah, he's a good cover-up to Marcus Rashford, and, he is the vocal point. I still believe, though, Manchester United do need a striker. I still believe that Manchester United, do need a striker and that. But there is still deficiencies in the squad that need to be addressed. I think Manchester United need a centre-forward. Because we need a right winger, definitely. And I think, we need another midfielder now. Solskjaer has come out and said, he thinks Manchester United need around 3 signings, for us to be title contenders. This is how many signings Solskjaer believes we need to be title contenders. And he's come out and said, as Solskjaer, he wants to get our transfer business done as soon as possible rather than wait until the summer. But, there's quite a lot of players on our agenda. But, a lot of United fans' perceptions now would have changed on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Some United fans now will bet Ole in. Some United fans will stick to their perceptions, do bet Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. But, some people, will be determined to give him another season at the football club because this is his first full season at Manchester United at the moment. Now, I think if we can get qualification for the Champions League, then we'll definitely be determined to give Solskjaer another season at the football club. And we are sitting 5th in the league at the moment. And, we can definitely, get top 4 this season. But there's quite a few teams in that top 4 race. It's a surprise how we're in that top 4 race because we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season ever. So it just indicates how many teams have been part in the Premier League this season. We are only 3 points behind top 4. And we're in a good run of form, We're unbeaten in our last 10 games in all competitions. We've won 7 of those. We've drawn 3. We've kept 8 clean sheets, put that into the equation. I think we've scored around 24 goals and only conceded 2. So we are in a good vein of form. And, Solskjaer does deserve a lot of credit, recently. I credit Solskjaer when he deserves to be credited. And I criticise Solskjaer when he deserves to be criticised because he has received a lot of criticism this season as Solskjaer and that. But like I've mentioned before, whether his whether his tenure at Manchester United works out or not, we'll never forget what he's done for the football club because at the end of the day, he's a club legend. He was a great player for the club for 11 years and he flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. But the beneficial thing is the longer we keep Solskjaer, the longer he's going to gain more experience as a manager because, like I said, he is inexperienced as a manager. But this is our best run of form since he was the interim manager. This is our best run of form. And, we had a really, really good result against Manchester City at the weekend, beating them by 2-0 at Old Trafford. That was the first time, we'd done the double over Manchester City in the Premier League for a decade. So the last time we did the double over them was under the Alex Ferguson era in the league. It was the 3rd time this season that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has beaten Pep Guardiola. But we fully deserved to win the game. And that game on Sunday was Solskjaer's 50th Premier League game as Manchester United manager. So he's now won 24 league games and drawn 13 out of his first 50 league games as Manchester United manager. But I said I had the feeling we'd just win the game because, we've done really, really well against elite opposition this season. I think we've registered around 17 points against elite opposition this season. Like I mentioned, we've beaten City twice in the league, 3 times in all competitions. We drew with Liverpool, we Solskjaer's obviously, beaten Frank Lampard 3 times as a manager. In total, he's beaten Chelsea 4 times, beaten PSG, beaten Tottenham. He's looking to beat Tottenham for the 3rd time as Manchester United manager, because Solskjaer's already beaten Tottenham twice as a manager. Obviously, Tottenham are in a bad vein of form. Losing to RP Lesby yesterday by 3 goals to 0. So Tottenham are now not in the Champions League. They're not in the FA Cup because they got knocked out by Norwich. So Tottenham basically can't win anything in terms of silverware. Obviously, Tottenham will just now have to hope that they can finish, in the top 4 so they can get qualification for the Champions League. Because if Tottenham don't get qualification for Europe, then Jose Mourinho's only got £50 million to spend at Tottenham. And obviously, I think the vast majority of Tottenham fans now anyway will want Jose Mourinho out. Because like I mentioned, Jose Mourinho has passed his sell-by date. He's no longer manager he's no longer a manager at that top level, and he was very, very good back in the day. Reflect on the silverware and that he won, but he's no longer a good enough manager as Jose Mourinho. And like I mentioned, Tottenham made a mistake by ever getting rid of Mauricio Pochettino. Mourinho's got a contract with Tottenham until the end of the 2022-2023 season, but they shouldn't have ever recommended Jose Mourinho win. So on Sunday, he's going to be reuniting with Manchester United. So I'm very convinced, that Man United can definitely beat Tottenham, because we are in a good run of form. We are definitely in a good run of form. And, that result against City was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as manager since that 3-1 win against PSG. Obviously, reflect on that 3-1 win against PSG, that's what got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job permanently. But reflecting on what he did in general as the interim manager got Solskjaer the job permanently. But, I still don't know if he is the long-term solution for Manchester United. Is he good enough at the highest level, Solskjaer? And that is the question. But I definitely believe he's going to be given time at the football club. Solskjaer is going to be given time. He's been here over a year, like I mentioned, and he knows if he's given another season at the club, Solskjaer, he will have many expectations to exceed, but he's aware that this is a transition period. Yeah. But it takes some managers time, doesn't it, to, get things right. It does take time, because don't forget, Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. But look what he went and accomplished after not winning out in his first 4 years. I don't think Solskjaer will invoke Ferguson's legacy at the club. I'm very sceptical about that. Klopp didn't settle in straight away at Liverpool, so it does take some managers' time. But, like I've said, I've criticised Solskjaer a lot this season when he deserved it. He's been tactically naive for the vast majority of the season, but recently, he's tactically got it spot on. He tactically got it right against Manchester City, and I did say it was going to be interesting to see how he was going to approach that game against Manchester City. But I have got to credit him recently, and I think there's also a lot of players that have really, really improved under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance. A lot of players have really improved. I think Luke Shaw's done absolutely fantastic. Since he come back from injury, Luke Shaw, he's been immense, because he was out with injury for like 2 months, was Luke Shaw, don't forget. But since he's come back, he's just been absolutely immense as Luke Shaw. And I know he's also received a lot of criticism, obviously with the amount of injuries he's had, obviously, and his poor run of form. And he was good last season because he won the double player of the season, did Luke Shaw. But I still think he's one of the best fullbacks in England, Luke Shaw, without a shadow of a doubt. And, he's highly experienced. And, that's what Solskjaer basically goes on. But he's done really, really well. It was good to see him score against Derby. That was only his 2nd goal for the football club. And now he's into his 6th season at Manchester United. He's Luke Shaw. So he's done really, really well. I've got to say, Martial's recently rejuvenated himself. Of course, we've been playing Martial in the number 9 role this season, even though he predominantly plays out on the left. But, he's done really, really well. But Martial's also sustained quite a few injuries. Like I mentioned, Rashford's a miss for us. He's a long-term absentee. He's a big miss, Marcus Rashford, because he did really, really well earlier on in the season. There's reports saying he could be fit for the Euros, but, he could be out for the rest of the season for Manchester United, could Marcus Rashford. But he did well before he got injured. I think Mason Greenwood's also done really, really well this season. Like Solskjaer was saying, it's a privilege as a manager to have a young squad, because we have got quite a few young players that are in their first season in the senior squad. And Greenwood's in his first season in the senior squad. He's done really, really well. I think Greenwood's got 11 goals now for us in all competitions, 5 of those in the Premier League. You can play him as number 9. You can also play him on the right-hand side. Very, very good player is Mason Greenwood. And made his debut against Cardiff. That was his full Premier League debut against Cardiff at the end of last season when we lost 2-0. Brandon Williams, he's also done really, really well. He's in his first season in the senior squad, is Brandon Williams. Well, we did see him as our preference over Luke Shaw, but now obviously Luke Shaw's come good again. Both players are basically getting their opportunities. So yeah, he's done really, really well. Garner's played a couple of games this season. Tuanzebe did well before he got injured. He's now back, by the way, is Tuanzebe, which is very, very good news. Like I mentioned, I think Lindelof's also done really, really well alongside Maguire in our back line. Bay's done really, really well since he's come back from injury, because he was out of injury for a while. I think Fosu Mensu's now close to returning. So we have only got a couple of injuries now, but we have had a lot of injuries this season. But like I mentioned before, that's not excusable for how inconsistent we have been. It's not excusable at all. And, we have got quite a few ambitions this season. One of those ambitions is the FA Cup, because the FA Cup is a chance of us getting some silverware on the board, because we haven't won out in terms of silverware yet under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Plus the Europa League's another ambition for us, because that's a chance getting silverware on the board. Plus that's another route to Champions League football. And I think we are emerged as one of the favourites to win the Europa League. Of course, don't forget, won the Europa League back in 2017 under Jose Mourinho. But yeah, Solskjaer will be making a lot of rotation, because we've got games coming up thick and fast. He'll make quite a lot of changes in the last game from the 2-0 win against Manchester City. He will make a lot of changes in that. But yeah, so like I mentioned, probably Solskjaer will be here next season. If Man United were to sack Solskjaer, obviously we'd have to pay to get rid of him. And then I think our next manager would be either Mauricio Pochettino or Massimiliano Allegri, because they've been the two possible candidates that, that could replace Solskjaer at Manchester United and that. But Manchester United are not really known for the sacking football club. I know we've sacked 3 managers already since the Ferguson era. Obviously, we sacked David Moyes. He only endured 8 or 9 months with the club. We knew he was never the right manager for Manchester United. Obviously, when we didn't get any qualification for Europe under the David Moyes era. That was one of the main explanations why he got sacked. And we finished 7th under David Moyes. I think that's the lowest we've ever finished in the Premier League era. We finished 6th last season. That was very low as well. But yeah, and Ferguson was at the fault for ever recommending him in the first place. So that was Ferguson's fault. But that's the only mistake Ferguson made, was recommending Moyes in. The reason he recommended Moyes in is because they was both Scottish. Obviously, Van Gaal came in. He had a good pedigree. We thought he'd done well. Reflecting on what he did at Munich before he came in, didn't work out under Van Gaal. Yeah, we did win the FA Cup under him. He recruited a lot of players and also let a lot of players go. Didn't work out. Mourinho won the Europa League, the League Cup in his first season, got second in his first season, but didn't work out under Jose Mourinho. So persistently sacking managers is not always the right solution, because not all the blame just stems from the manager. Obviously, this season, a lot of United fans have been down in the club's ownership. They've also been criticising Ed Woodward a lot. And I don't like the way the football club's been run in general in the last 6 or 7 years anyway. But a lot of money's been spent at Manchester United, around nearly £1 billion has been spent in the last 6 or 7 years on recruiting players in. We've also got the highest wage bill in the Premier League, so let's just put that into the equation. But Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in the world, with a fantastic history, fantastic fan base. Most successful team in England. We've won 20 titles, 13 of them Premier Leagues. Yeah, so we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We won 3 titles in a row back in 07, 08 and 09. That was a great Man United side we had then. Won the treble back in 1999. That's one of the club's greatest achievements and that. And I did say, didn't I? I'm hopeful now this team, this day and age, can replicate what our team did under Alex Ferguson. And I think, Solskjaer, this is what he's doing. He's looking to build. He's looking to buy into our history. This is what he's doing in that. And but my perception on Fernandes, he can be the next Paul Scholes, definitely. He reminds me of Paul Scholes a little bit, but he has definitely made the difference in the team, because since he's come in, our win ratio has been absolutely superb. it was far superior to what it was before Bruno Fernandes came in. So put that into the equation. Obviously, Jack Grealish and Jadon Sancho, they're 2 players on our agenda. I obviously give you the latest news, didn't I, regarding Jude Bellingham yesterday. But yeah. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.